Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elle, and today I'm going to be talking about 10 favorite top books of the first quarter of the year. I saw that Jess from Peace Love Books did this video, and I'll link hers down below, but I kind of wanted to talk about some of my favorites of the year so far. So I don't know, I just was like, maybe I need to like round up some of my favorites and keep in mind of like what I'm loving right now and try to like go back and find books like what I've been loving lately. So let's get right into this video. The first book I want to talk about is Twilight of Embers by Tessa Hale. So I had read one Tessa Hale book before this one and I give 5 stars. I enjoyed it, but this changed the game for me with her books. I fell in love with this series. So this is a dragon shifter romance series. It's Why Choose? And the heroine has no idea about anything about magic. She is going on her first day of university and she meets one of the heroes, and he instantly realizes like she is one of them, like a dragon shifter, and she doesn't know. And so she meets kind of like the whole group of guys. One of them is a billionaire, one of them is a professor at the school, one of them is trying to like reject the mate bond, and it is just so interesting, and I really love this series and this romance. And I just love how like each of the guys, they all have very developed relationships with the heroine, and it is just so good. There's a ton of action, lots of secrets being revealed because her like parents were murdered and we really don't know why. So it's just so fast-paced, a lot of fun. The audiobooks are amazing, so many great narrators. I've just been loving this series so much. I had to put Ashes of You on this list. I'm obsessed with Catherine Cowles, and her writing is just like chef's kiss. She is such a great writer and I love this series from her. I'm about to start Fragile Sanctuary soon, which is going to be her newest release and the start of a new series. But this is about Hallie and Lawson, and Hallie has had a very traumatic past. And like Lawson kind of like helped her in the past because he is also a cop, and so now it is years later and she's coming back to the small town to apply to be a nanny for his kids. And at first he's like, I don't know if she can handle this, but then he realizes she can, and he has 3 sons and they are a lot of, like of work, and she really has to learn to kind of think outside the box and be comfortable in her skin and be comfortable, you know, parenting children basically, you know, because she's with them 24/7 and their mom is out of the picture. So she's doing that, but she's also falling for Lawson at the same time, and he's falling for her, and it is just absolutely adorable. It's like forbidden nanny age gap. I think there's like a 10-15 year age gap between them, and I just love how Lawson was like, I can't date you, but like I want to take care of you and be with you so badly. And he is just adorable, and I love Lawson, but he also has a lot of demons he is working through, and his sons are working through, and she's kind of healing all of them, which I love. So this is a lot of fun, and there's some suspense in this one with her past, of course. I just love Catherine Cowles. This is one of my favorites by her. Then I have Loving Romeo by Laura Pavlov. This is the first book in her Magnolia Falls series, and this is a super fun romance. So the heroine and hero, he is an MMA fighter, or I think he might be just a fighter. I don't really know what type of fighting he does. I don't remember if it's MMA, but he's just a fighter, or maybe he's a boxer. Honestly, I don't remember. But anyways, it doesn't matter. And he has like a gym, and the heroine opens like a bakery right next door to him, and he absolutely detests her family because her family had something to do with him basically going to jail years ago, and he just absolutely hates them, and he hates her, but she actually doesn't know anything about what happened in the past. So he's like, I hate you so much, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so they kind of like connect really well after they get over like him not liking her and her family, and it was just such a sweet, fun romance. I love seeing them kind of like both work through the stuff that they had to work through together, which I really liked. And I just love when a hero like melts for their heroine. It's just one of my favorite things to read in romance books. So this one was a solid romance. I really enjoyed it. I love this small town, and all of the side characters are hilarious, and I'm just so excited to continue on with this series. Then I have House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas. I had to put this on this list because it was epic and I was obsessed when it released. This is the third book in the Crescent City series, and this just is continuing on with the ongoing story of the series, and I love this one. This is definitely, I think, my favorite of the series. It's probably tied for the first book and this book. It was epic. There was so much action because of the previous books. We built all of this groundwork and foundation work to get to this book, and this was just pure action, pure just like things are happening so fast, but you're like catching up, like you know what's happening, but it was just insane, and I loved it so much. It was amazing, and I cannot wait for a new release by her. This was just epic. I was reading, I think I read it in like a day and a half because I just had to know what was going to happen because it was so fast paced, and I love that when fantasy romances do that. Then I have Through the Glen by Samantha Young. This was a favorite. I think I read it in February maybe, and it was so good. So the heroine, she is a secret true crime author, like writing mystery books, and the hero is a very famous screenwriter, and she was working as a maid at this like this Highland manor thingy, and he was a guest there, and she was kind of like, hey, like, do you think you could hook me up with somebody who could, you know, screenwrite and create my series as a TV show? And she has the book series under a pen name, and he's like kind of like, no, like get away from me. And so then like a week later he goes to visit her, and he agrees to do it after reading her series, and so they start like working together, and it's kind of like opposites attract. Like, she, you know, is from the Scottish Highlands and has lived a very simple life, and he is from England, and he, I think, is like a earl or something, like, I don't really remember. He's like some like big thing in society, I don't remember, but it was just a lot of fun, and I just remember really loving this one. I loved like the Scottish Highlands, and it was a little like forbidden because he was a, you know, a guest at the place, and you know, she was a little inexperienced, and they kind of really just like bonded together, and I just love that, and it was a lot of fun. Then I have Where We Belong by Ashley Munoz. This is the second book in the Stone Riders MC romance series. I love this one. This is a hate to love angsty romance. So the hero and heroine met, and they just did not get off to the right start. The hero really pushed her away and was kind of like, get away from me, just because he is so scared of letting somebody in and losing them again. So he really just like pushed her away, and it was very devastating for the heroine. And so now it is like a couple months later, and they are having to kind of spend more time together because of like, she is related to somebody and people are after her, and so he has to protect her, and he is just like upset that he has to protect her because he doesn't want to get attached to her, but he ends up getting attached to her. And it was just such a great romance. I remember loving it. Super angsty, lots of tension and chemistry off the chart. It was amazing. I love this one. Then I had to put the Grip series on this list. I love Grip, and I read this in March. I listened to the Still and Grip on audio. It was amazing. A super angsty, emotional romance series. It is a second chance romance between the hero and heroine. They were almost a thing years ago, but there was like a miscommunication, and the heroine basically thinks that the hero betrayed her, but it was just a miscommunication. And so now it is years later, and she is actually his, I think, like publicist or agent, or works for his record company, and she is like managing him, I think. And so they have all this tension and angst, and he really wants to, you know, start up something with her, but she's like, I don't want to get hurt again. So she pushes him away, and then he gets in a relationship with somebody else, and it's super angsty, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it was so good. They find their way to each other. So freaking good. I love this romance. Super angsty and emotional, deals with a lot of heavy topics because they are an interracial couple, and so they do you know, have discussions of like police brutality, you know, racial profiling, just like racism in general, white privilege. So just a lot of really important topics. And I just loved, like, even I learned, I mean, not that even I, but like I learned a lot of stuff from this book. And I just think it's like really important to keep educating yourself, especially with reading and supporting Black authors. And I love Kennedy Ryan. I love so many of her books, and this book is just amazing. I feel like everybody should read it because, I don't know, it's just more than a romance to me, and I just love it so much. So definitely go read it. It's very, very good. Then I have The Devil and the Heiress by Harper St. George. I love this one. It's super fun. So the heroine basically has to get married to someone. Obviously, it's in society, and she is an American heiress, and her father's like about to, you know, marry her off to somebody, but she decides to run away to Scotland with Christian, the hero. And they're like pretending that they're gonna get married, but they're really not. But he kind of has an ulterior motive of getting her to marry him. But then they kind of start connecting and bonding over their road trip in the Scottish Highlands. And it was just a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. I loved like the road trip of it all. Like, it was really fun, and them starting to bond. And it was like a little bit forbidden, and they kind of had like a near-death experience, and they grew closer. And I just like love road trips and historical romances because they're so much fun, and I love this one. It's so good if you want a really good historical romance that has some action in it. I love this one. Then I have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I love this romance. It is a childhood friends to lovers romance, and it's so good. So Ford and Rosie have known each other their whole lives, and Rosie got fired from her job, and she's coming back to the small town that they grew up in to kind of like refocus and regroup and figure out what she wants to do with her life. And Ford recently became a billionaire, and he also recently became a dad, and he has a 12-year-old daughter that he didn't know about. He donated sperm when he was a teen, and so his daughter, like, her parents are going through some struggles right now, and she just needs somewhere to stay. So he's like, sure, like, you can stay with me. And so he has to kind of learn on his feet how to be a parent, and it was just so adorable. And just seeing him trying to connect with a 12-year-old girl, he was just so awkward, but I loved it. And Rosie ends up working for him at his like record company in the small town, which was a lot of fun. And they start growing closer, and they have a lot of history, and they have really good banter. So it was just a really fun romance, and I loved it. I love Ford. He's definitely such a swoony hero, and I am obsessed with him. And the last romance on this list is The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is a very angsty, hate to love romance, forbidden romance. So the hero and heroine like absolutely detest each other. The hero is the brother of the heroine's ex-boyfriend, and she ends up having to go on a trip with her ex-boyfriend's family to Hawaii. Her ex-boyfriend was supposed to be there, but he ended up, something happened. So for like a couple days, it's just, you know, her and then his family. And it's just like so funny and so awkward, and the hero just thinks she's like a spoiled brat because she is a pop star, and he works with like Doctors Without Borders in Somalia, like helping, you know, kids in like a war. Like, I don't really remember what he's doing there, but he's just basically being a doctor in the country and helping kids, and it's kind of a very dangerous situation, and she, you know, is very like complaining about stuff and just like has a lot of privilege. And so they kind of butt heads, and then they start to bond while they're on this trip and just grow closer. But then they're like, can we really be together? Like, this is wrong. And she's not together with, you know, his brother anymore, but she is just always doubts herself. And I just like loved how they finally like figured out how to be together. And it was a very angsty romance, very emotional at times. Like towards the end, I was like, are they gonna end up together? They do, obviously, because it's a romance. But I just love this one. It was a lot of fun. I listened to the audiobook, and I just fell in love with this couple and their story. All right, well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me chat about 10 romances that I've read in the first quarter of the year that I really enjoyed. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And definitely down below, let me know what have been your favorites so far this year, because I would love to know. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations. Oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you